business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. And this evening present, we have Tricia Gomer, we have Tricia Vogel, we have Erica Landman, and Tomoko Tallon, and myself, Carrie Johnson. Brianna Chu is absent this evening. Would you like to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand for the flag salute. Hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anyone here wish to reorder or add anything to the agenda? No? Okay, seeing that there is none, I would like to open the public comment period. I would like to invite members of the public to address the legislative body. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once, both on and off agenda items. If you are in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it. Do we have any speakers this evening?
We do not.
Seeing that there are no speakers this evening, we will be moving on and closing the public comment period. And I would like to invite reports from the board. First, I'd like to invite Erica Landman to share out about the CLA, about the Giving with a Purpose, and an opportunity to give back to our community as well.
Okay. Hi, everybody. First, before I forget, I have a special thank you to Cindy Romero. Cindy Romero went, and I had requested if she could come and speak and share all the cool things the library is doing at the Glendora Kiwanian meeting, which was last Thursday. And she came and she gave a riveting presentation all about such things as the Clio, the Adventure Pack. Is it Adventure Pack?
The Adventure Backpack.
Okay, and so the people, they really like the idea of getting in free parking spots at the state park, so that was cool. And they like the Clio app. Can I share your top secret thing or let you do it later?
We'll do that later.
Okay, all right. And we learned about a top secret addition to Clio that apparently I cannot tell you, so you'll just have to stay tuned for that. So that's cool. Thank you again, Cindy.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
You were marvelous, so thank you. And then this last Thursday also, I had the opportunity to attend Serving with a Purpose and representing the Glendora Library. It was really a great conference. And one thing that I really loved that one of the keynote speakers, Jeffrey Cohen, he came from Stanford University. He's a psychology, he has psychology background, and he's a teacher over at Stanford. And what he brought up was that volunteerism actually boosts the feeling of belonging and empowerment, and it provides people with a purpose, and it actually extends people's lifespan. So I thought that was cool. I wanted to share that with everybody, and I like that. Let's see. He also brought up that librarians create a sense of belonging by asking about people's interests when they're directing them to find books, and that it really gets buy-in from the community, that way, and the people want to return. And so, great job, librarians. And then an author named William Kent Kruger. Honestly, I have not read his books, but based on the line wrapping around the room to purchase his books, he's very popular, and so I've been missing out. So I actually purchased two of his titles. Let's see. So I got, and he autographed it. Oops. Iron Lake, and also Ordinary Grace. And so I got those. And then They even gave us a little book bag to go and like carry our books back out of there instead of look like we stole them. So that was nice. So, and let's see. But they also had John Kraska coming on, and he represents a nonprofit organization protecting libraries against defunding and censorship. And so he was sharing a bunch of ways people are getting involved to help keep libraries funded due to federal budget cuts, and ways to stay informed about that. Then one other thing, so that was a great conference, though. Honestly, it was like the best that I have attended yet. So that was really, really well done. Okay, and then I have two more things. So I just wanted to let everybody know I'm in charge of designer bag bingo for the Glendora Kiwanians. I need your support, so I hope you'll sign up. You play a bingo game, and then the prize is like some kind of purse ensemble. And all the funds go back to support children and women's causes in the community. So it's cool. So I have the information. So that's going to be October 18th over at the Crowther Teen Center. So if you need any more information, just let me know. And then I was asked to share about Field of Heroes. Field of Heroes, they have, for 4th of July, they have flags set up by City Hall, but they also have them at Gladstone Park. And they are in need of people sponsoring flags. This is Rotary, as well as signing up to guard the flags over at Gladstone Park. And so I am not a member of Rotary, but the last 4 years, we've just kind of made it a tradition, and we go and we sign up to guard the flags. So that takes place July 3rd through July 6th. And at fieldofheroes.net, you could go and sign up for a spot to guard the flags. Thank you for giving me some time. Sorry.
You're most welcome. And we also have a report from Tomoko Tolland.
I attended the quarterly board meeting for the Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation at the end of April, and just two things to report back, in addition to all of the support they do year-round. Night on the Plaza, it's the 25th year anniversary. It'll be July 12th, so mark your calendars for that. And Battle of the Books will be on September 16th. That's it. Thank you.
Do we have a theme for Night on the Plaza yet?
I am not going to disclose. That'll be for the Friends Foundation. That's their news.
They always pick something great, so I'm very interested to know. I'm looking forward to that. And I would like to report that Tomoko and myself, we both attended last Tuesday's council meeting, where 4 of the library volunteers who have spent 4 years donating their time and expertise to the library were honored. And not only were they honored, but they were also gifted with scholarships that were very well-earned scholarships. And it was a wonderful event. It was packed, absolutely packed. So it was nice to support them on that evening. Any other reports? Okay, wonderful. So our next, we're going to be inviting Library Director Janet Stone to report on
It's the monthly Director and Divisions report.
monthly report of Director and Divisions.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back with all of you. Thank you for all of those updates from all of the work you've been doing out in the field since we last met. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation for providing those scholarships for those volunteers that you mentioned. We appreciate that support as we do the support throughout the programming that they provide. So as usual, the report of the Director and Divisions is in its entirety in the packet, which is available to you and to the public online. Rather than go through that report word by word by word, I will simply give a few updates that have happened since we went to press, so to speak. One of them is that last time, it was asked whether or not there are a lot of libraries providing mobile escape rooms the way we did for National Library Week. So I found it a little bit difficult to research because it's, at least so far, the looking I've done depends on them identifying them as mobile escape rooms. So if they bring them on site but don't identify that they are mobile, then it's very difficult for us to identify. But the handful that I did find, I would say that the state of Illinois seems to be in the lead for that sort of thing. And there really may be, again, identifying them as mobile escape rooms were really about 5 to 10 before I started to see repeat search results. So it's not a very common thing, at least not that where they identify that that's how they're bringing them to the campus. There may be many more where they just market the escape room without that part. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know, I did look around a little just to see. So anyway, cheers to Illinois. I'm looking over there because Library Services Manager Donna Duke spent some years of her career in Illinois. So anyway, okay, so onward. A couple of big events since we last gathered together. Earth Day, the library count for that was about 200 interactions with the public. And then Culture Fest, just this last weekend, a huge success, around 250, we think, interactions with the public. So really wonderful chances for the staff to be out there where the public is. Let's see here. A couple of things that our viewers may need to know. The library building will be closed tomorrow for our Spring Staff Development Day, and then on Monday for Memorial Day. As always, we are open 24/7 electronically, so check out our website. If you do need assistance, you may find it there. And we will be returning to regular hours on Wednesday and then, the day after Memorial Day as well. Let's see here. Volunteer Match, our program for that was sponsored by the foundation and by Coordinating Council. It is now live, and we are sort of doing an on-the-road series of shindigs for that. So if you belong to a local organization, keep your eye out. We may show up as your program. And if you want one, give us a call, and we'll come do one. A few things about the statistics in your packet, the summary that you see. First of all, just confirming that the web page views, just a reminder that, that we did revamp that website and the analytics are new and different, so you'll see changing numbers there until that sort of stabilizes over the course of a year on the new platform. Let's see here. Staff has been utilizing Volunteer Match to recruit additional volunteers, so you'll see that reflected in the numbers. That's pretty exciting. The number of people reached via social media, this is, I think I mentioned this last month, is that depending on how we market things each month, you may see a change from year to year to year. So this is a great example of that. In April of 2024, so last year, there was a National Library video, it was a press conference riff, and that increased our stats for that month, which is why they look comparatively lower this month, but that month last year was the outlier. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned that. It's not a downward trend necessarily, it's just that we had that one specific social media post last time in April. And then also the publications produced, we have a figure for our email public relations, and this year, it includes our numerous National Library Week emails, including the virtual escape rooms. So this is a case where we will have an increase in that number because we focused on our email public relations this time around. So I'm sure next year they will be explaining why April was so high in that category compared with next April, unless we keep those numbers up for email marketing. Anyway, so those are some statistical updates. And I know that we are going to, this evening, have Tricia Bogle take her oath of office. And in anticipation of that, I just wanted to offer a welcome and to share with those who may not know anything about her that she's been in Glendora for 16 years, if I'm not mistaken, has been a middle school teacher, which is a true calling, in my opinion, for 26 years. She's a member of the PTA, California Teachers Association, and National Educators Association, and expresses personal interest in literacy and lifelong learning, which of course are perfect matches to some of our most significant public library responsibilities. So we look forward to, bringing you your orientation and everything. And now that you're about to get sworn in, we'll be arranging some training and orientations for you. And just wanted to say welcome and to share a little bit about you with everyone. And that's it for me. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just wanted to make a comment. I love the library walk-up songs that was on social media. That was hysterical. And so I love that. I couldn't believe I saw that. And well, this is epic. So great job. And welcome, Tricia. I'm so happy you're here. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So moving on to item 3, we will be administering the oath of office for our newest trustee.
I state your name.
I, Tricia Bogle,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will take this obligation freely
that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will,
well and faithfully
well and faithfully,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, well done. So moving on to item number 4, we're going to be welcoming and recognizing new and promoted library staff. And I would like to invite Library Director Janet Stone to present and make the recognitions.
Thank you. I think we're going to play this one as a relay because I will explain that every couple of months now, we are going to be coming to you if we have any new staff or any promoted staff and introducing them to you, whether or not they are able to attend or not, just to make sure you know who they are. And it happens at this point that they are all members of Donna Duke's division. So I will have her come up and introduce them there by name, and we have one of them with us tonight. Donna?
Yay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So as Janet said, it just so happens that the new employees as well as the promoted employee is in the support services division. So we had 4 vacancies for Library Aid 1 positions, and we have since filled those positions. So we have Elisha McCarrig, Carlos Martinez, Aubrey Reinl, and Anthony Savino, who is here with us, and we'll let him introduce himself as well. But we also, as some of you may know, our senior library technician, Roseanne Mecca, went to the city manager's office. So we were actually able to do an internal promotion, and our library technician, Colette Avila, moved into the senior library technician position. So with all of that said, I am happy to allow Anthony to come up and introduce himself.
Hello, my name's Anthony Savino. I'm originally from New Bedford, Massachusetts. I have read Moby Dick. I'm happy to be here. I'm currently enrolled in the Library Technology Certificate Program at Pasadena City College, and probably going to finish that up this year. And excited to start my library career here at Glendora. And yeah, in a past life, I was a barista. I've worked in live music, but I've always loved libraries and what they do, and feel really happy to be here. So, yeah.
Welcome. Wonderful. So moving on to item 5. Are we ready to move on? Okay. Item 5, update on the proposed 2-year budget and capital improvement program for fiscal year 2025, 2026, and 2026, 2027. And I would like to invite Library Director Janet Stone and Finance Director Kyle Johnson to present.
Good evening, Board. It's a pleasure to be here for the first time. It seems strange. I've been with the city for going on 7 years now. So, but it's, there's always a good time to have a first time. So it's a pleasure to be here tonight and present on the budget. So we'll go to the next page. So the proposed budget and eventually the adopted budget will be up on the city's website, along with the budget in brief and budget by numbers. That'll be in the finance department section under budget and reports. The historical budgets drop under that yellow banner there of adopted budgets. So the budget process really involves the whole city. And when I say the whole city, it's not just the people sitting here in this room or the people that are in the offices throughout the City Hall campuses. We take input from the community surveys, so most recently the 2025 community survey, where a large portion of the response, funnily enough, was provided for things the city could do better was, I think, I don't know, or I don't have or I'm not sure. But among the things that people did respond was, addressing homelessness and infrastructure improvements, and I think it was also dining in places to shop. So it includes those things. Additionally, it considers the city council policy directives through the 2025-27 adopted strategic plan. And those goals include suburban living, Glendora as a destination, new and revitalized facilities, sustainable infrastructure, and then staff and technology. Once we consider all those things in the budget, we get input from all the city departments for their operating and capital budgets. Meetings occur with all the departments to discuss departmental needs and wants with the city manager. From there, we meet with the city council early on in the budget process to give them an update on the impact of the needs and wants of the departments, how that impacts the general fund financial forecast, the measures E and Z now, that Measure Z was adopted or passed by the voters in November, and the water fund's financial forecasts, and what does that look like with all the new department requests in there. From there, we come to the point where we're at tonight. We present to all the boards and commissions. The majority of the presentations are informational, special items for all the boards and commissions, with the exception of the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission reviews the capital improvement plan or projects for compliance with the general plan throughout the city. From there, we go to the City Council workshop, so that's usually on the same day as the budget adoption. But it's at the workshop, all the department heads are available if the council has any questions. Particularly this year, at that workshop, we'll be looking for council direction on certain certain funding items related to Measure Z, and also on different items where we've have potential or actual realized loss of funding. So that specific to the library, right, with the ILMS, the Institute of Library and Museum Services, reducing or cutting off funding for the eBooks for All initiative through the state, and then for the discussions that have been had for for Friends Foundation grant funding prioritization, and what will that look like for the city going forward. Other departments have items on there as well. For instance, like the police department, looking at expanding the community impact team. So those are officers that are out in the public and heavily involved in the homelessness efforts as well. And I guess on that line too, community development, just as one that kind of tags along there, is looking at an affordable housing consultant. So those services kind of go hand in hand. From there, after we get input from council at the workshop, and that is open to the public, we'll go to the regular city council meeting and for the budget adoption, and that'll be on June 10th. So as it states here, the library has funding out of 3 places. Primarily, it's the general fund, as we'll see when we get further in the slides. So primarily, library operations are funded by general fund revenues. Capital projects, if there's any improvements to the library, that is done through the capital projects fund, which is also funded through the general fund revenues. So while it's a separate fund, it's the same funding source. And then we have the special revenue right for all the programs that the Friends Foundation funds for the library. So as we mentioned, the capital improvement program, while there are no direct projects for the library at this time, we do have some on the books from prior years, but no direct requests in this year's budget. There is, we have the continuing conversations on what it will look like to make the library improvements along with citywide facility improvements. The discussion's been, I think, had over the last couple of years. I mean, the library alone could look at upwards of like $70 million to replace, bring on a new library, update the library. And this doesn't even consider, $50 million in just the basic maintenance that's needed to keep all city facilities at status quo level. And what that kind of means too, and what the city's been striving for, consistent with the message from the state of the city, is that the city's really going to have to look for meaningful engagement with residents as it considers how to fund, what to do, and what to look at when replacing it, or revitalizing, as our goal is, the aging city facilities. So here's our general fund financial forecast. All right. All the stuff I'm really comfortable with, numbers and spreadsheets. And as you can see here, the general fund is balanced. If the important part of that, though, too, is to look kind of as a line 11 there. It is balanced, but it does require about half of what we get from measures E and Z now with those combined, because measures E and Z combined for about $11 million. So in years 25 and 26, we're looking at $5.5 million, or about $6.3 million of revenue coming in from measures E and Z to balance the general fund budget. And so that's, and part of the reason for that is over the last 2 years, there was a drop in our sales tax revenue, about $1.3 million, just related to sluggish sales tax or consumer spending in different areas like fuel and auto sales, which is a big one for the city. And then on the opposite side, there was an increase in insurance costs, right? With all the severe weather events and things like that, not only are individuals seeing and private businesses seeing increases in their insurance costs, so does the city, to the tune of about $1.5 million over the last 2 years. But the city is taking action to try to mitigate those rising premiums and look to see what we can do to stabilize the rising insurance costs. And then if we go on to measures E and Z, they're combined now. As we can see there, like I said, $11.5 million from measures E and Z combined. One of the areas that I'd like to highlight is line 17, which is the net loss, which shows net income for fiscal years 26 through 2030. Prior to measures Z, it was money in, money out, but to items like capital projects, funding for pension and other benefit liabilities, as well as our internal service funds, which is where we primarily pay our insurance costs out of, and items like that, and capital projects, as we can see in 23, 24. But the reason we're showing some net income in the current, or in the proposed budget years and the projected years, is due to Measure Z. So council will provide some policy directive on what are the funding initiatives for that. And it could likely align with the things that the voters were approved for. So looking at homelessness, could be additional street improvements, and homelessness through a variety of measures. One of the items that I mentioned earlier is expanding the community impact team. So that could be potentially funded through Measure Z, along with other homelessness efforts. That one reason we went past Measure Z, right, was to keep the money in-house, where with former Measure H, a lot of the homelessness funding was going to the county but not making its way back to the city. Other areas that Measures E and Z provide are other public safety programs, school resource officers, the current makeup of the community impact team, and homelessness and capital project funding. As always, there are always ongoing challenges. So right now we're dealing with an uncertain economy and shifting federal policy, as we had discussed earlier. The loss of the ILMS funding, while not maybe millions of dollars, it's still an impact to the city's general fund budget that we weren't anticipating a couple of months ago. Rising insurance costs and community support needed for the city facilities. So all of these items on there, have been considered in the budget. And while we still need to look for community engagement and things for city facility costs, we have budgeted for what we can to maintain the facilities. While these challenges are ongoing, the budget is a dynamic document that gets revisited and revised to address changes in funding and cost levels to meet community needs. So it changes. Sometimes it changes on the same day I take the budget, which is really frustrating for me, but it happens. So in conclusion, the general fund is in a good place to address future challenges. Measures E and Z are critical revenues for allowing the city to maintain and enhance, in some cases, enhance services. And that'll be what council will be making some decisions on June 10th. And it continues to provide funding for capital projects, pension stabilization, and in our internal service funds. And I'll turn it over to Janet.
Thank you very much, Kyle. It's a pleasure to have you here this evening. Thank you for that. Okay, so a few slides about library-specific things. This is a table of our authorized positions, so full-time and part-time, what the staff has looked like, will look like. So from 2023 up through fiscal year 2027, as you can see it from the very bottom line, it's absolutely stable. A couple of things that are in here. One is you will see a couple of shifts in 2023 and 2024 as we changed our approach to literacy services. So that's why the funding of a couple of those positions changed as we moved into a new method for using more volunteer services for literacy. And then also in here, there's a Library Aid 3 position that is vacant, and those funds are helping offset the cost for some of our contract services for public relations. So anyway, that's what's behind some of these numbers, but as you can see on the books and in our facility, the staffing is wonderfully stable. We're very appreciative for that. Okay, so revenues. A couple of things that you'll see reflected here. One of them is that the fees, for example, the library fees drop that you see listed there from $5,800 to $5,300 is really, an effect of the fact that those are all based on traditional library materials, right? Those are where those fees come from. And as you all know, there's been a long-term, industry-wide slow decline in the use of traditional materials. They're still absolutely elemental to us, but the fees that go along with replacing those and that kind of thing slowly decline with the use of them. Because one good thing about the electronic resources, even though you can't hold them in your hand the same way as a book, which is very important, but the electronic ones, which are available 24/7, also, they get turned back in automatically and they don't get lost and that sort of thing. So they don't contribute to this fee structure. The other thing, Kyle did mention that we are sort of awaiting some of the impacts and outlook that the Friends Foundation is facing for their budget next year. As they explained to me, and I'm just reading from an email, it says every year budget influences such as market condition, city and library strategic plans, foundation financial position, library needs, as well as others are considered in determining grant award amounts. We have not begun the grant process with the foundation yet, so we don't know how much they will be able to fund out of our sort of standard and one-time asks. So I know Kyle is preparing to help address that with the council. Okay. Let's see here. So that's what you can see reflected there in revenues. And in terms of expenditures, I think a lot of when you see increases here, things like salaries, retirement, and benefits. If you looked at in detail at the other tables that Kyle showed, you can see where some of these increases are. They're mostly in those kinds of expenses that are going up across the board through all departments. And a lot of that, of course, has to do with labor, but it's other things too. And then just wanted to mention a few of the asks that the library made relative to these and to the whole status of the general fund. These are pretty small, but I just wanted to let you know that we did ask for some support for volunteer match, just in case the foundation is not able to fund that in the coming year. And it's not that we wouldn't ask for other support if the foundation can't support other things, but that one we wanted to pull to the top as a priority. Since California Library Association Conference is accessible nearby again this year, we put in for some funds for that. And then that public relations contract services that I mentioned that's offset partly by our vacancy, we asked for some additional funds to make that whole so that we can continue working with with that contractor to help market the library services. So those are some of the asks that underlie our expenditures for next year. And so just some of the challenges and opportunities, as you know, and is making its way around the city, I am planning to retire, and my last day is July 31st. And that is not the only reason for succession planning, but obviously that's a key opportunity to rev up a little bit on some succession planning, and also just to take a good look at the impact of either a single administrative vacancy or, if it works out that way, a possible sort of string of them as there's movement in the organization. So that's something that obviously the city's going to need to be looking at. The economic environment, Kyle addressed a lot of that already. There are ripple effects to us from the federal government. Most of those come through the state. And on the scale of things, they're relatively small, but we do feel those impacts, and we do have to plan for them in terms of largely our electronic resources. The city's concerns at large, the foundation's concerns, those are things that are still fluid at this point and may change between now and when we go to council. So anyway, and then a couple of things that have been kind of on the books for a while as things that we really need to like raise up and continue focusing on are this idea of this sort of survey culture, this idea of continually asking for community feedback, not just verbally, but in methodological ways. And Adam has been great, the city manager, Adam, has been great in helping me look around at some ways to do that. A lot of those will probably be implemented, after I leave. And so that is, in my opinion, things may change after I go, but in my opinion, that's a really important dialogue to keep happening with the community and to develop further and further and further so that it's a regular way of setting our outcomes, our desired outcomes, and then being able to measure how we're doing on those. So sort of getting that institutionalized is a challenge and an opportunity that's still on the books. And then, of course, wouldn't be a meeting if we didn't talk multiple times about the facility. And indeed, although there may, as Kyle said, there are no direct capital improvement program requests, there's a lot of maintenance that's going on just to keep the building running. And of course, there's this sort of community-wide exploration of how to fund not only the many millions it would take to really, truly bring the library sort of up to the modern era, but just even keep the city facilities at status quo. So those are some of the things that will be topics of conversation fiscally for, the next year or two of this budget. And with that, unless Kyle has anything to add or correct of my, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have a couple questions, please. So Kyle, on the general fund, item number 4, under revenues, other taxes.
Yes,
Can you flesh that out a little bit, about $4 million?
that will be franchise fees and business license taxes. It would be the primary components of that.
Okay.
So, like a lot of the utilities that we have pay franchise fees for operating in the city.
Okay. I just have one observation. Being part of the ad hoc finance committee
Yes.
many, many years ago, and I'm going by memory, which is shoddy. So I do remember these numbers for the library expenditures under general fund. Those are pretty much in line with what we saw 7, 8, 9 years ago. And I just want to point out that the library is very judicious in how they use city funds. So this number does not stick out to me. Well, it sticks out to me because it has not grown the way I would have expected it to with the increase the city received from measures E and Z.
So, I mean, there's been prioritization of this funding Measure Z just occurred, right? It was just approved by the voters. Measures E, the direction that has been for the use of that has been to pretty much balance the general fund. A lot of the services might be indirect, right? So, like you're saying, maybe like with the insurance costs going up, that's one that gets spread throughout all of the funds. While it's not specifically listed here, you would see the impact of that.
That actually sticks out because it seems low to me, in my opinion. Allocation, right? We do expect insurance premiums to go up quite a bit.
Yes.
At least as homeowners or business owners. We
Right. Well,
expect that.
and yeah, the item that's specifically called out there is just what's hitting the general fund. It is also attributed to funds throughout the city as well. So the water fund takes a portion of that, as well as the other internal service funds.
Okay.
But I mean, I would agree with you. If I'm thinking back in recent memory, there hasn't been a lot of major change to the library operations. Probably the biggest changes would be the insurance allocation and personnel, right? As negotiations have occurred over the past years, right? As those increases are implemented for staff, that's probably the majority of what's kind of driving increases in the library budget. Specific to the general fund, it would be pulling any staff out of the Friends Foundation fund related to literacy grant or other funding priorities of the Friends Foundation, where I think they wanted to move more towards programmatic stuff and less on staff as well. So those are kind of the areas that I would agree with you. That's where the increases have been. I think the other ones have that would have been impacted more capital project based for the city as a whole, right? I know while it's not on these numbers specifically, right, there was a significant project to update the library heating and I guess it's ventilation and air conditioning systems, right, to get those up and running in there. Probably also you'd have mobile shelving. I know was a recent one that was a big project for the library. But some of those are one time, right? So you don't see them year over year. The increase doesn't stay.
So would it be fair to say that one of the sort of gifts of measures E and Z is that they and this is not just true of the library, but sort of across the city, that's what's allowed us to maintain the levels of service that we have. Instead, when we're facing things like the insurance increases and that kind of thing. So instead of having to pull back or reduce services or adjust services, one of the things that those measures are doing is letting us maintain services at the level that we had. So in some ways, I guess it's not that much of a surprise that we're not in a service boom where you're seeing the departments grow, right? Because
Correct, yeah.
is that be fair to say?
Yes, that would be fair to say. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle, for coming. You gave very informative information, so I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Kyle. Shall we move on to item 6? Are we ready? Okay, so report on the California Library Association Conference of 2024, and I would like to invite Library Director Janet Stone.
Thank you very much. We just wanted to check back in since the sending the staff to the California Library Association Conference, which we'll just call CLA for the moment, since that was such a big investment of resources and time. We just wanted to make sure we checked back in and let you know that the investment continues to pay off. So just a quick review, since we haven't talked with you formally about it for a little while. The conference we attended the conference as a staff on October 18th, and 25 of our staff went, spent a total of around 200 staff hours there, attending 404 sessions, 36 unique topics, and was an investment of around $4,000 for membership, attendance, and incidentals to make that possible. The goals related to the city strategic plan at that time were to increase employee development and retention, and specifically this was to encourage learning and development that included conference attendance. And the way we expressed this when we applied for the money in the budget was that Glendorans are impacted not just by their brick and mortar, corner library, but by regional, state, and national, and really global library services. And these kinds of conference opportunities really help develop staff leadership and service to Glendorans on the broader scale. That's how we impact that part of Glendorans' library experience. It's always great to have public have access to increased staff expertise through these learning experiences. So we've reported back before that the projects that are under development after working with staff post-conference included things like book recycling, mobile office and meeting spaces, preventing staff burnout, providing public training on emergency and what we're calling risk literacy, service locations throughout the community, and outreach engagement activities. So a little bit more about what's been happening on those categories that we've reported out on before. So some things that, opportunities and initiatives that have been underway. We are resuming access to full-scale book repurposing and recycling, where we're hoping to. There is a new vendor contract that we've received that's being assessed to see if that will work for us, and it will be great to be able to, again, repurpose the books that can't be used in the collection and the donations from the community that can't be resold. And again, many of the things that you're hearing about, in fact, all of them have been informed by that visit to CLA by staff and the conversations that ensued. So you know that we, in terms of the mobile office spaces, that we had a loaner, the product is called a Nook. We had a loaner on site for a while, and the public had opportunity to give feedback, and we are still trying to eke out a visit from a single user unit, because what we had was a two-person unit and they're structured a little bit differently. So that is ongoing, and as we work out the details among the different kinds of units and the public feedback, we will keep reporting back on that. But that could give us a different kind of user experience of the main floor, which is right now, one big open space, and the more welcoming, different kinds of welcoming we have, kind of welcoming environments we have, the better. Okay, also, this was really top of the list for the staff, is this idea of burnout. And so we want to help prevent that. We want to provide some staff care. So some of the things that have happened along the way, the managers attended a webinar called Nurturing Your Resilience to Avoid Burnout. And that also has further informed some of the things we've done. During National Library Workers, quote unquote, day, we actually made it most of a week and celebrated Monday through Thursday. When we planned Staff Development Day, staff helped us sequence the day so that it was less stressful and more playful with the same amount of productivity, but just the sequencing of it was something that they helped us plan out to be of benefit to them and the health of their brain power during the day. We are working on some self-care skills building so that so that staff can not only rely on us to help, but find some self-reliance for that. And of course, we continue our own in-house staff celebrations and support of city wellness programs. We also, I mentioned that thing we're calling, risk literacy. It's basically risk readiness, emergency readiness. There is a plan to create some centralized access to information about that on the main floor. That area will be interactive and informational. Part of that package that there will also be for each topic that gets presented in that centralized place. There will also be access to topical experts. And the first thing that's slated to happen this spring is on the different kinds of states of emergency that are declared, and a little bit of understanding about what those involve and what they mean to the public. Let's see here. So pending things with the facility, we're always continuing the discussion about temporary and mobile locations. And also just making sure that we're serving the public, we're practicing that idea of serving the public everywhere, not just in the bricks and mortars. So some of the ways you've seen that happening are the walking tours that are happening, the fact that we took the National Library Week escape room down to Gladstone, and another one that I'm really pleased about is this English language conversation group that's happening at one of our senior living sites. So we will keep on that. Combined with the discussion of how do we, when we do have to be flexible about our facility in the future, figure out how to keep serving the public. And this idea of outreach engagement activities, really the idea here is to focus on experiences. So as we've talked through this, that's one of the things that we've kind of noticed about that initial suggestion from staff. So that was based on this idea that they wanted the public to play with these sticker posters where they kind of create this work of art together. So the public's been doing that. But we have also offered a grouping of astronomy experiences that drew in 80 total public visits. And also the virtual escape rooms are another example of this, that we're providing that kind of experience even for people who can't come into the site. So again, all of those things, even if they are not direct things that were suggested coming out of CLA, are things that have been informed by that. They've helped us adjust our priorities and adjust how we are looking at the dialogues we're having with staff and how we're responding to public need. So just wanted to make sure we kept you updated, and we're all happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What were for everyone, what were your impressions of the Nook? how did the public interact with it? How successful was it? What were the comments?
Hi there. So good
Hi.
to see everybody. We received a lot of positive comments. I have yet to calculate all the stats. We kept track of everything, comments, the usage numbers. So I have still to do that. But so far, what I've seen, and we did have what we call our engagement, Engage Glendora? Engage Glendora website, where people were able to comment online, and all those comments were really positive. So we're hoping to work with that and see what we can do, but overall, it's been a really good experience. We had the Nook in 2 different locations. We had it towards the side for the first week, and then we moved it onto the main floor towards the back, which really helped a lot. It was a lot more visible, and we posted signs throughout the library that just said, "Ask me about the Nook." We didn't explain what it was, and so the staff was able to engage with the public, so it was really successful. It was wonderful.
And Elke, what was your personal opinion of the
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I think the style of it was a little too much for me. I think I like more the muted colors. But overall, I loved the little area to go in there, and you could tell a difference with the sound.
You
I mean,
really
it's
could.
not soundproof, but it's definitely sound dampening. So
I don't know how it's done, but it does.
Yeah.
It feels like its own environment when you get
Yeah.
inside.
yeah, very much so, and people really loved it. And there's enough space. There's outlets in the Nook where people could plug in. And it was really successful. We really enjoyed it a lot. The staff liked it. The public liked it. It was really good.
The website has just so many applications that people are using those Nooks
Yep.
in different capacities and different formats.
Yep.
So, what's the decision-making process in wanting to bring in the single Nook?
So we'll have to look at the customer impact, the customer comments, the data, and see if there is a need for it. There is a demo unit out there that we are hoping to bring on site so that we can collect more customer feedback on that. So we are still working through that with the building official and see what we can accomplish there. The single unit is literally just for one person, so it is somewhat limiting in that aspect, but for people who are trying to do a Zoom call or a video conferencing with their doctor, those single units do come with doors, so it allows a little more privacy.
And that would not affect building code on the doors?
We're working through that.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some concerns with building codes, so we are working through that with the building official.
Very cool. I look forward to hearing the updates on that.
Thank you.
One of the great things about these is that they could be used regardless of what happens to this building. That's one of the things we are trying to stay responsive to the public while we are waiting to find out what happens with the critical mass of the current facility. And so we are looking for these opportunities of things that could genuinely sort of change and make the space more responsive, and yet not possibly be lost if there's a major remodel or even a reconstruction of the building in the future. So that's one of the pluses of them, is that they would be usable, in the future as well. So yeah, looking forward to next steps with that.
I love the flexible seating options that it gives you. You can just move it to a different location or, order it in different formats. On the website, there was even like a village. Did you see that, where they had like probably 10 or 15 different nooks in almost like a wagon train circle in a room? And I can't remember if it was a counseling program or I was like, that's really cool. You make your own environment inside a shell. So very creative, really great problem solver, I think, on a lot of levels for a lot of things.
And one thing to add, and I forgot to add that, they are, you can really customize those. You don't need the lighting on the back. You can just have a whiteboard. I mean, there's 4-seaters available. There's the 2-seater like we had. There's the single units. So there's a lot of customization,
Yes.
which is fantastic as well.
Yes, and the prices are very flexible according to the the level of customization. And
They are.
in talking with colleagues on my school site, a lot of schools are using them in a counseling capacity.
Yeah.
Or like a calm down corner, or more for kids who need more like architectural,
Yeah.
you know.
And literally, 2 people can move it. When we moved it onto the main floor, it just took 2 of us.
But you do need an electrical source, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only thing you need is an outlet to plug it in.
And that's only if you want light and charging.
And
If
the
it's-
charging.
If
I
it's
mean,
bright
yeah.
enough, and you can operate without the overhead light, then you could do
You
it
could,
without the
you
plug.
could. If you want the charger to work and the light to work, you have to plug it in, but that's really all it needs. It doesn't need a data network or network
No
cable or anything like
ventilation.
that.
I mean,
No ventilation.
Because it's open, it doesn't require ventilation.
Yeah,
It's like just enough technology, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, interesting. I'm
May-
looking forward to seeing how this will progress.
If-
And the single Nook will be interesting to take it for a test drive, right?
Yeah.
Because you can pretty much drive them.
If I may say something about, that was brought up, the quote-unquote Engage Glendora site, and I just wanted to mention something about that. So for those who are curious, the way the public might run into the Engage Glendora site is if you go to the City of Glendora website and cityofglendora.gov, and you go up to Contact Us, there is an option there that says Have Your Say. And if you go there, you can see many of the what we call Engage Glendora projects that where there's interactive questions you can ask, opinions you can leave, and that sort of thing. You can also scroll down to the bottom of that and check out the site map if you don't see a topic there that you think you. So there are links to that throughout the city's website as well, where those projects are embedded. But if you just want to go check out Engage Glendora on its own, it's on the city's website under Contact Us and Have Your Say. And you can go explore there, and that's where we asked for opinions about the Nook, and there's some other library stuff up there too. So thank you for that moment. I just wanted to mention where that was.
You're welcome. Yes, I came in 2 times to visit the Nook. And it was being used in different capacities both times. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so, yes. Miss, go. Miss Erica.
Yes, I just have I'm just curious. Will the library be attending or planning on attending the CLA conference in Riverside? So it's going to be in Riverside in October?
Yes, we did actually, when we discovered it was back in Southern California, again, we did put in for a budget request to support that, yes.
Great. Okay, and is there any topic about the focus of the CLA conference, or did they release like a focus or title, or? Oh, okay.
So hang on, oh, there we go.
It's called Telling Our Own Stories.
Well, that's cool. Okay.
So just so you know,
Like it goes with the cookbooks, the community cookbook.
So for
you guys are loving.
those watching, the first person just now who got up to the mic was Elke Cathell, who is our senior management analyst. And that voice of research just a moment ago is Gabby Thompson, our administrative assistant. So thank you to both of you. I want to make sure that you get your shout out for, your role. So anyway, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, moving on to consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a trustee has requested it be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to pull or comment on any consent calendar items? Do I have a motion?
Do we have to push? Oh, I would like to make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
I would like to second.
Go ahead and vote. Yes, and
Should Tricia be abstaining?
are you going to be abstaining, Tricia?
Because I wasn't a member then? Is that what you're saying?
Is it for the minutes? For the minutes?
Consent calendar?
That's, she needs to voice that.
Oh, I will. I will abstain
For item 7?
for item 7. I'll abstain for item 7.
Okay.
Okay, I will abstain for 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. Motion carries.
Do we have any closing comments before we end the meeting?
Yes.
Ms. Landman?
Sorry, I had the opportunity to attend the State of the City, and that was a very comprehensive event, and you could check it out on YouTube, and you could actually see the replay, but there was discussion about the infrastructure of the city, including the condition of the library. So if you wanted to catch up with that, that's available on YouTube. Type in City of Glendora and it will pop up like State of the City right there.
I just have one comment, if I may. This is our first board meeting since Janet gave us her news that she is retiring. So just wanted to wish you all of the best. And the city is so lucky to have had your leadership in this library director role. And on a personal note, I am glad to know you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's truly been my honor, truly. Thank you.
No further questions? Okay, I adjourn the meeting at 8:07. Okay.